Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Stars Edmonton base for our very exciting day today as we welcome the new H145 to Edmonton and to Central Alberta. This is a day 37 years in the making. It is also the final base that we are welcoming this new aircraft, and we're very excited to share it with you today. Thank you for being here in person and for watching on the live stream. Before we get started with our program, we have a few special people that we want to speak with today very briefly. First, we have here a very important patient, Krista Dryden. Welcome, Krista.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Thank you so much for coming. VIPs are what it's all about. So can you briefly describe to us what is your connection to STARS?
10 years ago last month, I took a flight with STARS to go to the next level of care as we live in a rural community in Alberta.
So we're so honored that we could be there when you needed us, and it looks like you're doing so well, and we're just so proud that you could be here with us today. Are you excited about today?
We are. I brought my daughters and a friend with me, and yeah, we're excited to see what's going on and what's new.
Well, and we're so excited to have you here. Thank you very much. We'll be speaking with a few other people shortly, and in the meantime, we've got a slideshow here that is showing many of the highlights of our 30 years here in Edmonton. Hi, everyone, again. We are back, and we're joined by Rod Kaus with AltaLink, a very important ally for STARS, one of our donors. So tell us, Rod, why is it so special or so important for AltaLink to be an ally of STARS?
Very good, thanks. Yeah, we're just proud to be here. We're happy to support the STARS for sure. We operate across the province in very remote locations across the province and do some pretty high-risk work running the transmission system for Alberta. And so, we're pretty happy that we have the backbone of you guys around here in case something really bad does go down. So, and I tell you, our linemen, our subtechs, and everybody else is very happy that you guys operate this system.
Well, we're very happy that you're here to support us. It works both ways. STARS was built by the community for the community, and we're just so thankful that you can support us, and so that we can be there for you and the communities that you serve.
Very good. Thank you.
Thanks for being here today.
Before the missions, before the crew, before the fuel, flight suits, and gear, before our first coat of red paint, there was a need for vision, a need for response, a need for courage. That grew from the community, for the community. And as long as there's a need, we'll be there. With you by our sides, we are all STARS.
Dear guests, as the STARS H145 welcome celebration begins, we'd like to bring a few items to your attention. As this hangar is federally regulated and out of an abundance of caution for our crew and patients, masks are still required to be worn by all persons attending this event. In the event of an emergency, you are asked to evacuate through the door that you entered the STARS base, or alternatively, out one of the two emergency exits located along the southeast hangar wall. Once outside, proceed to the muster point located in the southeast corner of the parking lot. Washrooms are located in the front mezzanine of the building near the elevators. Please look for signs. If you require any assistance during today's event, please ask any member of the STARS team in attendance. Now, Please welcome to the stage your Master of Ceremonies, CFCW Mornings Edmonton host, Stella Stevens.
Thank you so much for that warm welcome. Thank you for having me here. It's so nice to see some friendly faces, although I don't know if that's good or bad. I know with CFCW over the years we have supported many of STAR's initiatives, from the STAR's Lottery Home. I know we've all bought tickets for that. I have yet to win it. And we've also helped support STARS through a radiothon that we did last year, where we raised over $175,000 with our listeners. And I also know friends and family members and their kids who have been helped by STARS. So this initiative is very near and dear to my heart because I think it's very important. And I am honored to be your MC this afternoon and really excited to share in this milestone. It's a very historic one. 37 years in the making, and with all of you here in the hangar and our friends joining us online with the live stream, we welcome you. Here in central Alberta and all across Western Canada, the sight of a STARS helicopter in the sky is a familiar one to all of us. When a life is on the line, that red aircraft is a beacon of hope for people in their darkest hour. Today, we celebrate the arrival of the next generation of helicopters that will help STARS fight the lives for the next generations of patients in need. Today, we also celebrate National Indigenous Peoples Day, a day for all Canadians to recognize and reflect upon the unique heritage, diverse cultures, and outstanding contributions of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. In the spirit of coming together, we acknowledge that the traditional land on which we reside in is in Treaty 6 territory. We would like to thank the diverse Indigenous peoples whose ancestors' footsteps have marked this territory for centuries, such as Cree, Dene, Saulteaux, Nakota Sioux, and Blackfoot peoples. We also acknowledge this as the Métis homeland and the home of one of the largest communities of Inuit south of the 60th parallel. We acknowledge the history of this land, and we are thankful for the opportunity to walk together in friendship, where we will encourage and promote positive change for present and future generations. In cooperation with the Indigenous organizations, the Government of Canada chose June 21st, the summer solstice, for National Indigenous Peoples Day. For generations, many Indigenous peoples and communities have celebrated this culture and heritage on or near this day due to the significance of summer solstice as the longest day of the year. We are both honored and excited to have special guests with us to help us celebrate this important day. Established in Treaty 6 territory in 2013, Dancing Cree is a group of educators, ambassadors, and cultural event coordinators dedicated to promoting artistic performances and events that promote traditions, history, and cultural awareness. This inspiring group brings an authentic, innovative approach to showcasing dance, drumming, singing, workshops, and coordinating historical events for all types of national and international audiences. Please welcome Dancing Cree. That was an incredible performance. Thank you so much. Dancing Cree. So when STARS celebrates an accomplishment like the renewal of its fleet, it's thanks to the dedication, support, and commitment of all of us. The STARS crew, in the air and on the ground. The patients who motivate the STARS team every single day, and the allies who contribute to STARS in so many ways. I'd like to acknowledge some other special guests that we have here with us today. Our elected officials from the Alberta Legislative Assembly, Honorable Casey Madhu, Minister of Labour and Immigration. Nicole Goering, MLA for Edmonton Castle Downs. Chris Nielsen, MLA for Edmonton Decor. Rod Loyola, MLA for Edmonton Ellerslie. Representing South Edmonton in the House of Commons in Ottawa, Matt Genereux, MP for Edmonton Riverbend. And from STARS Healthcare Partner, Alberta Health Services, Dr. Kevin Lobe, EMS Medical Director, Provincial Air Ambulance. Today is more than welcoming a new STARS helicopter to Edmonton and northern and central Alberta. It's also about recognizing and thanking everyone in this hangar and our greater community who make STARS missions possible. Speaking of missions, I would like to remind everyone that even as we overtake the base for our celebration, STARS operations do not pause and the team is ready to respond. And I know the duty crew is here in the hangar with us. Can you guys raise your hands and let us know where you are? They're out in the corner in the back there, so we thank you for being here. I remember one time being on location at a fire hall. We were opening the fire hall and we were doing the morning show there, and we received a traffic tip that there was a vehicle in the ditch. So I got on air, talked about the vehicle in the ditch, and all the firefighters at the new hall looked at me going, wait a second, how come we don't know that there's a vehicle in the ditch? Shouldn't we be there? And then sure enough, the sirens went off, and then they went and attended to the vehicle in the ditch, and then they came back and said, yeah, your caller was right. Isn't that funny how you get a call before us? So hopefully no one calls a radio station and there are no accidents and they can stay with us. Their operational helicopter is parked just outside, and if dispatched, we will see these 4 individuals quickly get ready to go skids up on their way to help someone who is quite likely having the worst day of their life. I'd like to call upon to the podium the Honorable Casey Madhu, Minister of Labour and Immigration, to say a few words.
Thank you so much, and good afternoon, everyone. It is indeed a pleasure for me to be here, but let me start off by saying that yesterday we had the provincial government had a beautiful ceremony in honor of our First Peoples at the heart of Edmonton, at the city center. And if you haven't had a chance, there were several festivities and ceremonies going on across our province today, as we know. And today is a day that we set aside to honor the first people that ever walked on this land. And we do want to thank them for their grace and generosity. With that, I also want to acknowledge that, whilst I represent the provincial government, and whilst I am exceedingly proud to serve as our province's Minister of Labour and Immigration, the best part of my job is that of serving the good people of Edmonton Southwest, the people that sent me to the legislature, without whom I won't be here as the Minister of Labour and Immigration. So I do want to thank Andrea for your kind invitation. And also, I understand Minister Bossonio is supposed to be here but couldn't make it. I do thank my colleagues who are here this afternoon for joining us. I am honored, indeed honored, to be among the first to meet the newest member of the STARS team, CF-LCI. I hope I got that right. Andrea, that's right? Thank you. STARS is a critical part of Alberta's emergency medical services response options. Your service, all of Alberta, and our rural communities rely on your highly trained and specialized medical crews. When nobody else is able to help someone in time of need, STARS arrives to stabilize them and transport them safely and quickly to the medical support that they need. While air ambulances respond to a small percentage of EMS calls, I was impressed to learn that your crews' training is almost at the same level as an intensive care unit teams. I think we can hear the sound of those folks out there. In addition, your ability to move patients from the scenes of accidents to the care they need ensures the best possible care no matter where the incident happened. That is why your Alberta government was pleased to increase our STARS funding from $7 million to $15 million this year in budget 2022. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. In times of crisis, Alberta's emergency medical services staff are there for all Albertans. And we recognize that there is currently strain on the EMS system due to the increased demand. That is also why your government was proud to increase funding for EMS services in budget 2022 by $64 million, including an additional $28 million for ground and air ambulance services. Unlike previous government, we are making careful investments that result in real improvement and results. Many of the difficulties that we face today have been decades in the making. Whilst they won't be solved overnight, you have your government assurances that we would solve them because it is required for you to effectively do the work that you do and to be able to save lives. Not only are we supporting STARS, but we are adding additional ground ambulances to help reduce wait times throughout the province. 9 ambulances will be added by the end of June, and a total of 19 will be added by the end of September of this year. Your government also recognizes that COVID-19 was a stressful time for first responders. We can never thank you enough for the dedication and support you showed Albertans over the past 2 years. You are always there to help when we need you. So Alberta's government is making sure that help is there when you need it. That is why we created the Supporting Psychological Health in First Responders grant. We recognize that the stress of the situations you encounter leads to a greater incidence of post-traumatic stress injuries. So we have dedicated $1.5 million to fund research and also support nonprofit organizations that offer mental health services to first responders and emergency medical responders. Once again, I do want to offer my congratulations to STARS on adding a beautiful new helicopter, the CF-LCI, to your fleet. Alberta's government is happy to support you and the important service you provide in times of need. on behalf of all Albertans, thank you for being there when no one else is there to help. I do want to thank you for all of you that have assembled here this afternoon to mark this important milestone. Congratulations once again, and thank you for the invitation. On behalf of a grateful province, thank you to all of our first responders. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Madhu, for your kind words, your remarks, and your support of STARS Air Ambulance. Our next speaker is an individual whose vision, passion, and drive have led STARS to new heights and who has turned the dream of fleet renewal into reality. Please join me in welcoming the President and CEO of STARS, Andrea Robertson.
Thanks, Stella. Thanks, Stella. So, you can't make this stuff up around STARS. That's a little busy tarmac out there. So I don't know if you've noticed, there's just a couple of helicopters. So little known fact is that this is our heavy maintenance base. So a whole bunch of helicopters have been through here. But what's interesting about today, and the reason I say you can't make this up, is one of those helicopters, a Grand Prairie helicopter. And why would that be? Because they came here to refuel after they dropped a child off just a little while ago. And so that's what it's like around here. We've got, as it turns out, we had 2 operational crew, Edmonton crew and Grand Prairie crew here today. And we're moving new helicopters and old helicopters around, and it's a day in the life. So apologies for all the extra helicopter noises, but you are in a live hangar, and that's what it's like here. So today, I want to start with a message of thanks. We're going to be able to thank the people that are joining us in a little bit that are going to entertain us, but I too want to say something about National Indigenous Peoples Day. We seek to learn from history and the lessons that have come before us to draw on the wisdom of the first peoples of Canada. Only through learning can we move forward to a better future together. I am grateful to our government and to our colleagues across the entire health system, in particular, our partners and colleagues in Alberta Health Services, our first responder partners in EMS, fire, city police, and RCMP that our crew work shoulder to shoulder with each and every day. I'm grateful to our allies in the region who stood by STARS through challenging times, by the way, of the last 37 years, but in particular the last 2. Our fundraising activities were forced to take a pause, but indeed the emergencies did not. I'm grateful to everyone at STARS for their dedication, their professionalism, and world-class skill in the service of the people of Alberta, but the people of Western Canada. Finally, I'm very grateful to our hardworking volunteer board of directors. I'd like to introduce and acknowledge some of them who are with us today. Norlie Bradley, please wave. Mike Broadfoot, Micah Tormson, Richard Hodgkiss, Teresa Yang, Helen Kasdorf, Doug Ramsey, Marnie Smith. Am I missing anyone? Did I catch it all? Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for guiding us in this mission that we call STARS. Edmonton is celebrating 30 years of existence. Wild, hey? It's incredible. Since 1985, our fight for life began with a single idea: one life lost is simply one too many. 37 years later, delivering innovative emergency critical care across Western Canada is not only alive and well, but we're leading the way. As an organization, we've come far in 3.5 decades. One base grew to 6, or depending on how you count them, 7, right, Doug? And our one air ambulance grew into an entire fleet. Our first mission has led to over 50,000 missions flown in Western Canada. We're here to celebrate the start of our next chapter in Edmonton with a new aircraft. But before we look to the future, let's reflect on the privilege we've had in fighting for the lives of our patients in this region for the last 30 years.
Back in 1991, I started in the intensive care unit at the University Hospital, and there was an educational session and they were introducing a brand new program called STARS. I saw this red helicopter. I'd never heard anything about it before in my life, and I said to the person that was leading this tour, how do I join? They said, well, you have to be an ICU nurse for 5 years. I'm like, okay, thank you. Worked full-time as an ICU nurse for 5 years in a level 1 trauma center. 5 years later, I walked in the door at STARS. I'm like, okay, I'm back. Any opportunities? And by the grace of God, there was an opportunity. I got interviewed, and then the rest is history. I've been in the BK since I started in 1996, and then we had the AW implemented in the 2000s, and now, as of yesterday, I did my training for the H145.
We've been operating BK-117s for over 30 years. It's been an excellent aircraft for us, as reliable and as operationally ideal as the BK-117 has been. The aircraft, the airframes themselves, and the technology in them were getting old. Knowing that we only had a limited time frame, we initiated a fleet renewal program to try to find the best aircraft for STARS for the future and hopefully the next 30 years.
I've been flying for 27 years. I have never flown an aircraft with the capability that this aircraft has, both from a single engine standpoint as well as a computer-driven avionics system. Really, just the capability of this aircraft, both in all the environments that we fly here in Edmonton and around all the provinces, it's going to be a game changer. It's going to be a fantastic addition to our fleet and one that's going to be around for years to come.
The care that you would receive at the University Hospital, we can bring to a city of a few thousand people, and we can provide tertiary trauma level care in the side of the road and in a ditch and in a small nursing station. We're able to bring that level of critical care out to really anywhere in Alberta. We can provide blood and put people on life support and do a number of really, really advanced things.
STARS is there for you when you are going on a trip, going on a vacation, when you are leaving the urban center. And it's so comforting to know that STARS will be there if there is ever an accident, if there is ever an incident in which you need them. We are so grateful to the Allies for funding the new H145.
Without the donors, we couldn't do what we're able to do.
What can you say other than thanks?
I just, from the bottom of my heart, say thank you so much.
Without your support, it was an idea, it was a project, but it wasn't 10 helicopters flying medevac missions. So thank you.
Yes, go ahead, clap. That definitely deserves a lot of applause. STARS allies don't have to look too far to see the impact of their support, the patients that they've helped. STARS has a saying, it's all about the patient. They've even given former patients a very special name, and that is VIPs, very important patients. However, once the missions are completed and the patients leave STARS care, the air medical crew often wonder about the VIPs' outcomes. Reuniting with patients is an honor, an immense joy, and a potent reminder of why STARS exists. Ask anyone on the STARS team, meeting VIPs and their families is the best part of the job. I'd like to now call upon to the stage very important patient Emily Donahue and her sister Elizabeth.
Hi. You don't really realize how important STARS is until you need them. In our case, we needed them 3 times. My sister Emily has been the STARS frequent flyer in our family, having her first flight on August 29th, 2005, where she suffered a seizure which lasted 1 hour and 40 minutes. Emily has cerebral palsy and epilepsy, which causes these massive seizures. Her seizures snowball, meaning the longer they go on for, the harder they are to stop. To finally stop her seizure, she was given enough medication to knock down a horse. Stars was called for she could no longer breathe on her own and took her to the stollery. 1 month later, she had another seizure, and Stars was called once again to help. We got to meet one of the amazing flight nurses, Brenda, aka Big Mama, who was on this flight. Everyone says she was most likely gently rubbing her head along the way. 4 years later, it wasn't a seizure that had Emily on Stars, but the H1N1 virus. Now here we are, we will be turning 20 this year, and Emily has been seizure-free since getting her medication figured out. And we're able to see the helicopters as VIPs and not a patient. Stars has been such an important organization for my family, but you talk to anyone and they know someone who has needed Stars or have flown themselves. The number of people has increased significantly due to COVID-19 the past few years. I was living at the University of Alberta residence, and I would watch a star flew past my window at least 5 times a day. It makes you sad to know that these people are that sick, but knowing Stars can reach these many sick people across Alberta so that they can get the help they need is such an amazing thing. The entire Stars organization amazes me every time we're invited to these events, not only by the incredible helicopters and technology, but mostly by the incredible people in and on these flights and the people who work behind the scenes. After meeting with some of the pilots, flight nurses, and paramedics in this organization, you realize how good of hands everyone truly is in. Everyone is so well trained, professional, and above all kind. From Brenda coming and showing us around the base and sitting with us for coffee, to John coming up to me at the Purcell auction and thanking me for being there for my family during these hard times. It wasn't that hard, it was mostly just making cookies at Grandma and Grandpa's house. But acknowledging these hard times that everyone goes through is so amazing because they see you at your worst times. Stars will forever hold a special place in my heart and my family's, but as well as all of Western Canada. With these new helicopters, we know that Stars will be able to reach and be out there for more rural communities in the future, getting more people of Western Canada a chance for greater health care. When they fly down from the sky, Canadians know that they're in the best of care with the best of people, and that is why so many people support this amazing organization. Congratulations on the new fleet.
We're not going to let them disappear that easily, are we? So I don't know how you describe courage, but I'd say we just witnessed some. Yes? We're telling them they're not allowed in the new helicopter unless it is to visit, both of you. Elizabeth, I think you did a beautiful job. And Emily, thank you for standing here as our VIP and supporting your sister. Right? You're beautiful ladies. Thank you very much. So we're all about ensuring that we can reach our patients safely and effectively, efficiently for decades to come from now. And that's why we're here today, to celebrate the most ambitious project we've ever taken on. Today is a culmination of over a decade of work of defining our needs and planning for the future of Stars. As you heard in the video earlier, our beloved BK-117 aircraft, like the one that's on standby for missions just outside this building, they've served us well for tens of thousands of missions across Western Canada. But these long-serving, reliable workhorses are at the end of life. Their manufacturers stopped making parts, and they're getting costlier to maintain, because our commitment and our promise to you is to be available 365 days a year, 24/7. The Airbus H145 aircraft was determined to be the best choice for safety, for operations, and for fiscal accountability. This great helicopter is going to help move our organization forward. At $13 million each, we've had our fundraising work cut out for us, and I'm really pleased to say that we started 4 years ago, almost to the day, when we publicly launched our campaign to raise the funds to purchase the first 9 aircraft in this fleet, Base by base, we presented our case to our community allies, friends, and partners in the hopes that you might be able to help us with this landmark project. And did you ever? Thanks to your phenomenal support, 4 years. We did this in 4 years, folks. And COVID, by the way. 4 years later, we've come so far. We're in the midst, actually now, of fundraising for a 10th aircraft, but the original campaign, the goal to fund 9 new helicopters, we did it. We did it. When Edmonton begins to fly the new H145 this summer, we will be complete in this whole conversion of our fleet. In short, the most ambitious undertaking in our organization's history is now a reality. But it would not have been possible without our federal, provincial, municipal governments, corporate donors, service clubs, and individuals by our sides. Now let's take a short trip back to figure out how we actually got here. So you know what, folks, I think we'll get started. Thank you for joining us. Welcome and good morning. The big news is that we're moving forward with our fleet replacement. We've chosen an aircraft. It's the Airbus H145. Very similar in look and feel to the BK-117. There's been lots and lots of work been going into fleet renewal and fleet replacement. Some of our initial training will occur in Europe, so Scott will be taking a team to Germany. The medical interior that was chosen is Aerolite. It's a clip-in, clip-out interior with the intent that it's scalable and changeable for the future. Today, STARS has taken one little baby step, but we've also taken a huge, gigantic step for the long-term sustainability of this organization.
Wow, what an awesome video. What a journey this fleet renewal has been, and I know you are really excited to see it in person, and that's going to happen in just a few moments. STARS was built by the community, for the community, and it's so amazing to see how the community has stepped up for this important initiative. At the end of that last video, you likely noticed the H145 welcome events at the 5 other STARS bases, and it's exciting for us to all be here for the last celebration.
Hi. So I don't know if you noticed, I have to find out who was flying because I think they were showing off a little bit. Dave, do you think? A little? No. No, he's saying no. Oh, that was necessary. Okay. We'll find out later. We're getting organized. We're going to bring the aircraft in so you can see it and touch it and feel it and all that good stuff. But I'm just going to tell you a few things before we wrap this little event up. Think about all the lives that have been saved, all the people, communities touched every time we leave on a mission. It's exciting and profound for sure. I want to point something out to you today, though. Did you notice that their call signs are on the front of the aircraft? So there's letters, kind of like on a car or a license plate. Every aircraft has a unique set of them, and they're registered with Transport Canada. The registration marks are very meaningful in our fleet and all have special significance to us. One of our aircraft is called FNP. Shockingly, that stands for the next patient. Another one is WRC, which is a nod to our province, Wild Rose Country. This aircraft that just landed has the call sign LCI. Any idea what that might stand for? It's a complete nod to the founding, one of our big founding partners and supporters in service clubs, Lions Club International, and we have some representatives here today. Would you please stand and be recognized? You're looking around, but I do mean you. So in closing, thank you to everyone here and online for sharing this important milestone with us today. I hope each and every one of you feels proud to have been a part of this. Fleet renewal is not just about replacing aircraft. It's about a generational investment into the to the people of Alberta, to the communities that we serve, and indeed right across Western Canada. It's our shared commitment to be there for the next patient in need, perhaps even our friends or our neighbors or our loved ones, wherever they may be living, working, or playing throughout Alberta or Western Canada for generations to come. STARS and our fleet renewal project are absolutely true success stories built by the community for the community. Thank you for being part of our story over the last 3.5 decades and for helping shape our future. As our flight crew finishes getting that helicopter ready for you, let's hear directly from the patients who have benefited from your support.
Somebody paid it forward to me for that helicopter to be in the air.
I just want to say thanks to everybody that supports STARS.
The people who help out in any way are saving lives every day.
The donors, the volunteers, the VIPs who go out and do stuff.
The people who buy lottery tickets, STARS calendars, bequests in a will. They're amazing.
I'm grateful for them every day. I do truly think about them every day.
I call them angels.
All those people that do that, honestly, there are no words.
It's unbelievable what they do, especially if they haven't been personally touched by it.
I can guarantee that everybody in the province is either already knows somebody or they are going to know somebody that needs the service.
You don't know what could be around the corner.
I never expected to need STARS, right? Who does?
You just never know.
You never know.
You never know.
You never know.
You just never know. We never thought it would be my dad. I didn't ever think it would happen to me.
And here we've used them 3 times.
We're 3 strong with the STARS use.
We're in a small area here and there's been 3 people within 3 miles that have flown on STARS.
This is real. It affects real people in real situations.
If they weren't around, I wouldn't be here today. I think the outcome 3 years ago would have been totally different.
If we didn't have it, I'd be dead. We didn't have support like this, people die.
I'm here today because STARS was able to fly there and pick me up and fly me to a hospital.
Without STARS and without allies supporting them, I wouldn't be here. My family wouldn't have a father.
When people donate, they're saving people's lives. Every penny that they give is saving someone's husband, someone's dad, someone's kids, someone's spouse. It's a pretty big deal.
could be saving your own life one day by supporting STARS.
I did a fundraiser for the STARS. I think I made $400.
Instead of buying Christmas gifts, we all just pooled together and donated to STARS.
We did a Mother's Day fundraiser, and the other one we did beer and haircut for the men.
Fellow kinsmen started a ladies' night. Diamonds in the Sky gives money back to STARS.
We had one birdhouse left over. The auctioneer said, let's sell that for STARS, $2,000.
Whether it's $5 to $500,000 and everywhere in between, every dollar counts.
Thank goodness for the donors.
It really means a lot. I want to give them a hug.
You guys are doing the right thing by making STARS possible.
It makes me cry a little bit to know that.
Because it's living proof of where that money's going. I think you want to say a big thank you, right?
He's a little bit shy.
Every one of those dollars that people put in really makes a difference.
It makes a huge difference.
And goes a long, long way.
I believe it gave our daughter a chance that she wouldn't have had otherwise.
So I really would support anyone who wants to donate.
You can have all the employees doing what they're doing, but if you don't have the support, you don't have the donors.
They're all intertwined, like one can't happen without the other.
It would not be possible, and it wouldn't be reaching as far and as wide.
What does a person say to that?
I would say thank you, a big thank you.
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 Thank you. Thank you so much.
From the bottom of our hearts.
A hearty thank you.
Like a huge thank you.
A huge, huge thank you.
Thank you. You guys are lifesavers.
Keep doing the work you're doing.
You don't think you're going to need it, but when you do, you're sure thankful.
In just a few minutes, you're going to meet the pilots and see that helicopter up close and personal. The pilots are just preparing the helicopter to wheel it in here for viewing. As you can see, the door is sliding open. Once the aircraft is fully ready, we're going to move it in and conduct tours of the aircraft on the nearest side of us, and you can take photos from the far side. And if you could just kindly stay in your seats until the conclusion of the program, that would be appreciated. Afterwards, please help yourself to some food and refreshments, and don't forget to take a commemorative H145 souvenir poster with you when you leave. It has been my honor to be here with you today for this incredible historic event. I'm going to turn things back up to Andrea to wrap up our program with some very special words.
Thanks. Thank you. There are a lot of our crew here today. Our crew at STARS don't include just the people inside the aircraft, but everybody else that makes it happen. So if you could just turn around, and for all STARS staff, could you please, if you're seated, please stand, and everybody else just raise your hand and please be acknowledged. Thank you so much for joining us today and helping us celebrate this huge accomplishment. So please feel free, once the aircraft stops and the team has secured it, please join us in seeing what your donations helped us buy. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us today for this very, very special event that has been 37 years in the making. It's a very exciting day here in Edmonton. It's a bit of a hot day actually, but it's very exciting that we could join with so many of our allies, our patients, of course our crew, and all of you watching online. We're so excited to have the H145 here in Edmonton and to be completing the implementation across all our 6 bases across Western Canada so that we can be there for the next patient who needs us for generations to come. Thank you so much for joining us and have a great day.